Welcome to Palia Ponderings. I'm your host, Jessica St. Pierre. So relax and get cozy as we get ready to discuss all things Palia. Last episode, we did a high-level overview of some facts about Palia and talked about what we could expect the village to possibly contain. This episode is all about story speculation. As I mentioned last time, Singularity 6 is describing Palia as an enchanting world full of mystery. After disappearing thousands of years ago, humans have just begun to reappear across Palia. From the description of the game, it sounds like the main story quest line is going to be surrounding the mysterious disappearance of the human players and their sudden emergence. My first thought was, how did the human Palians disappear thousands of years ago? We know from Gina's villager information that she's doing her thesis on the human reemergence. So it stands to reason the other Palian races don't completely know or understand how or why humans have reemerged. And since we currently don't have access to Gina's research notes, we're going to have to go looking for clues and do our own theorizing on what the story is. And even though I want to know the how of the human's disappearance and reappearance, I remember being told by one of my college professors that you should always ask why before how when story crafting. So why? Why did the humans disappear all those thousands of years ago? Was it some kind of global calamity that forced them to leave? Perhaps the human Palians were faced with some kind of global climate change crisis, and they had to flee. Maybe it was an unprecedented pandemic that was ravaging the human race. Or perhaps it was a terrible war, and the humans were the losers. Maybe it was a bit of dark magic and humans were cursed once upon a time style to another world or realm. Maybe they were abducted by another alien race. Perhaps an asteroid hit and caused global tsunamis and they had to find a way to evacuate. Or maybe Palia is not a uniplate planet and experienced a massive tectonic shift that caused untold destruction from earthquakes and volcanoes, and the Palian humans had no choice but to find a new world to inhabit. We don't know for sure, but what we can tell from the information we've been given, and yes, I know there's not a lot, but let's have fun speculating with what we do have. We see on Eloise's card that she studies the ruins for signs of unusual activity. So does that mean there has been unusual activity? And could this, quote, unusual activity be related to the human reemergence and possibly their disappearance? Well, what ruins could they be talking about? If we look at some of the images released, we can see what appear to be ruins. Now, whether they are the same ones referenced on Eloise's card, we can't know for sure, but we're going to speculate that they are. So looking at them, what comes to mind? Yes, for me, it looks like half of a Stargate. So does this mean that the pre-disappearance humans of Palia were part of an advanced scientific community that discovered how to make an Einstein-Rosen bridge portal device to travel between two different places? But is this a device of science? I'm not so sure. If we take a closer look at the image of Palia, you can see that it looks like part of the ruins are floating in air. So is this a device of magic? A magical portal that let humans escape from Palia millennia ago? We may be able to rule out the magical portal because the Singularity 6 team, when asked about magical portals as an in-game feature for fast travel, said nothing so magic-y as portals. However, just because magic portals are not part of the present-day gameplay of Palia, That doesn't mean there wasn't magic and magic portals several thousand years ago. Then again, as Arthur C. Clarke said, magic's just science that we don't understand yet. So I'm going with a theory that if it is a gate, it's a little bit of both science and magic. If we go back to our picture one more time and look even more closely, we can see what appears to be some kind of lettering or hieroglyphics. Maybe the gateway was constructed using science, but to get it to work took some kind of spell from the runes carved into the side. So it's that mixture of science and magic we talked about. Now, let's speculate a little bit about what's going on presently and the Palia will enter as human players. How many thousands of years has it been since we've disappeared? Although we can see from some images the village looks clean and in good shape, there is evidence of the ruins of a previous society both in the village and through the images we've been given of the Palia countryside. The Palia website is vague about the time frame of when humans disappeared, loosely using thousands of years ago for when they disappeared. This leads to a whole slew of questions we need to uncover, in addition to the how and why of the disappearance. How many thousands of years ago was this disappearance? Einar's card says he's over 3,000 years old. So was he here when the humans disappeared? Were the other races of the Grimalikins and elves also here when the humans disappeared? It's not unheard of in fictional stories for elves to live a very long time. In Tolkien's Middle-earth, the Lady Galadriel is over 8,000 years old. And in World of Warcraft lore, we see the well-known night elves of Malfurion Stormrage and Tyrande Whisperwind are over 10,000 years old. What isn't clear is if the other races were here, were they not affected by whatever caused the humans to disappear? If they were here, why did they let things fall to ruin? Or were the ruins caused by whatever made the humans disappear? Let's theorize together for a moment on what makes sense. If there was science and magic great enough that the human Palians walked through a gateway thousands of years ago, then if the elves and Grimalikins were already here, wouldn't they continue using the advanced science and progressing civilization? You could counter that maybe they saw how technology was detrimental to humans and chose a simple life. But that argument is flimsy at best. There is something else that's interesting to me, the choice of words the Palia team uses to describe the humans' return on Gina's card. They say that they're re-emerging. Re-emerge is a different meaning than reappear. If the gateway is shattered, where would they re-emerge from? Did the humans maybe never actually leave the planet? Did they go deep underground to hide and live for thousands of years? Have they been frozen in some advanced cryogenic device? One thing is for certain, there is a lot of story to uncover in Palia, and we'll revisit the why and how of disappearing and re-emerging in more detail as we get more information. Let's touch a little, just a little bit, on how the Singularity 6 team said they wouldn't shy away from an emotional narrative with the story. So far, we haven't seen in the trailer of Palia or any of the art or screenshots shared any really young or really old humans. Now, this could just be because we still have seen very little of Palia, period. Or it could be because part of this emotional narrative may mean facing some hard realities and truths once the mysteries begin to unravel. If we were in another world or realm, were we forced to leave behind parents and grandparents and children for the journey back to Palia? Or was there another catastrophic global event that forced us to return to Palia? Were we responsible for the death of a world? Is there some divine being of nature that's returned us to Palia to give us a second chance to show we can love the world and life that surrounds us? Will this emotional narrative force us to take a hard look at ourselves as humans, to face maybe some bitter truths that even us earthlings struggle with, which is that everything humans do impacts those and the world around them either positively or negatively? And in the Palia trailer, we see how happy the human player seems to be. We're enjoying building our home and then finally relaxing in it. But is this because we've lost our memories? Are we only able to enjoy the utopia Palia because our grief is buried? Will we be forced, in order to truly live in harmony with the world of Palia, to perhaps face our past so we can learn from our mistakes? There is a lot of speculation still to do on the world of Palia, but we will save more of our ponderings for next episode. Thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and don't forget to check out the links in the video description. Until next time, be well and stay cozy.